Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Gary Fowler, and I am the CEO, president, and co-founder of GSD Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in Santa Clara, California. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've done 17 companies, 2 unicorns, love artificial intelligence and quantum computing and cybersecurity. Recently been involved in tokenization. So it's great to be here again, and today we have another one of our exciting guests, Alexander Soroka. He's a serial entrepreneur, an investor, created the incredible startup network, has the unicorn battles where they find companies from all over the world that want to go global, that want to dominate a region, helps them get funding, gives them visibility, and during this digital transformation, really put a nice patch on an incredible environment to be able to help those companies still connect. So going from the real world to the virtual world and dominating it. So it's with great pleasure I introduce my friend, Alexander Soroka. Alexander, it's great to have you here today.
Hello, Gary. Hello. And yes, it's nice to be here today with you.
So I have a question. I see that you got your master's degree in IT you started in, I guess, 1994, something like that. But tell us a little bit of how did you go from your master's degree in IT to where you are today and venture capital and the unicorn battles and the start? Would you say one day, oh, I want to do something, I want to dominate the world and let's put it together? How did this start?
Good story. So, in 1990s, I worked in public equity market, and I had a great experience at one of the biggest company in my region. But after that, a lot has happened in this market. Market changed, and I spent probably 10 years in IT. But still, I love to invest in some startups just because I like this process. I like to see how the startups are growing. And so probably in 2009, 2010, I decided to do this professionally. So I just left all my other businesses and started just with the events for the startups and investors. And it was the beginning of my professional career in venture capital.
And so you started out, what did you do one day? Say, oh, I want to have an event, and I'm going to do this in Silicon Valley, or I'm going to do this. What was the first step?
We started in Eastern Europe, and so I spent, in that times, I believe that Silicon Valley will appear in every region. So, and my idea was to create the ecosystem in my region. And in fact, it was a mistake. So Silicon Valley is Silicon Valley, and it just exists in one place in California, and the venture capital market did not grow so good, not only in Eastern Europe, but in many other regions, in fact. Still today, probably approximately 50% of unicorns are born in US, 25 in China, and 25 for all other world. So, this business just existed for many years in just several countries. 2020 changed a lot, and now we have I would say a plain ecosystem, because now we use Zoom and we can talk to the startup, we can talk to the VCs in any region, and today it's much easier to talk to different investors and make deals, and we really do deals not only in US but in Latin America, in Asia, and we did not meet these persons personally. So we did not have a physical meeting. It was just a Zoom meetings, and it's really wonderful and strange, a bit strange.
So how did you make that transition? When did you finally, because I know a lot of investors said they wouldn't invest unless they have a face-to-face meeting. When did you finally make a decision that you're going to invest just on a Zoom call? How long ago was that?
It's really not easy because you need to have a trust, and when you have just Zoom meetings, it's really hard. And so what we do, we prefer to invest together with some local VCs, or maybe other big guys which are investing in this round. And for example, in Asia, we had a deal where Samsung and BlackRock have invested before and investing now, so, and it's a bit safer than you would do it alone. So we don't invest through Zoom to early stage deals because I still think it's really risky.
Yes, it's risky. Well, okay, but what about later stage deals? So if you're going up
later stage, when you invest with some local VCs or with great VCs from maybe US, you have some trust to these guys, not only to the startup, because the startup, of course, can create a story, can create a narrative, and you can be in this narrative and make mistakes. But when you have other guys who are sitting in the same country or in the same city, or have a lot of resources to do really great due diligence, so it seems to me it's safer, and it's really probably safe.
So if you're going to do an early stage investment, or you're going to do an investment, it's good to have a great partner that's local that can do the due diligence to make sure it is what it is, right? Everything they say is what it is. Interesting. So tell us a little bit. You got these amazing unicorn battles. I knew you're doing MENA, you're doing the US, you're doing Latin America. How did you come up with this idea? When did the online part of it get started? Because I know you were doing real-time events, but was it just the beginning of COVID where you decided to flip over to the online version? And how did that idea come up? Was that your first idea, or was that a later stage idea?
Yeah, the first idea was 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, when we started. And for many years, we had just offline events. And when we did not find the market in Eastern Europe, we came to Europe. We did not find a good market as well, so we came to US and we started to make events there in US, and then in different countries. So we've been in Middle East, in Asia, in many places really. But after that, 2020 came, and it changed. It changed the venture capital market, as for me, because last year we started to organize online events because we did not have any other choice, and we understood that we can create, a worldwide competition, which every quarter appears in every country, and so this is our idea, to unite the whole venture ecosystem in one contest. And so every quarter, they're going to have a contest in every country, and from this country, the winners will be in the regional contest, and the winners of regional contest will be in the world final. And so a lot of visibility for startups and for VCs. And I like really this idea, and this is what we are doing today. And I hope this will change VC industry as well.
Yeah, and so let's walk through it. So they win the regional competition. What do they get, Alexander, if they win the competition? Is it a monetary prize, or is it recognition? And then how does it scale up if they win the global competition?
We don't really have a lot of prizes. Yeah, we even very often don't have them at all, because as for me, the best price for the startup is investments.
Mm-hmm. Right.
If our finalists usually raise money, great money, and sometimes it's 10 million US dollar round. Yeah, so, and I believe it's good. So if you remember, as an example, the final from the last year, it was Subman. It raised 12 million US dollars after our cup. And so,
Which company was that?
Subman. It's from Europe, Spain or France, something like that. It's European country. And one of our judges decided to invest half of the round, and then they raised probably 6 million more. So you can find this information in Crunchbase and on our site as well. And the second example can be Prive, if you remember the startup. So now they are raising round B, and one of the investors are probably, I cannot tell you now because the deal is closing today. And probably I can tell you about Mancha because it's public information already. If you remember, this winner of Latin America. And so they raised 22 million together. 7 of them are in equity, and 15 million it's in debts. So debt financing. So it's really good money. And our battles, I believe our battles help them to do this job.
Oh, I love your battles. You're doing a really good job, and the people are really nice. So literally across the board, you've got a great team. It seems very coordinated and nice on top of that. So you can tell that you've got a well-oiled machine. And at the same time, the startup coming out, there's a lot of value in the startups coming in. You know, my background's in AI and quantum computing. And so I'm looking for those companies that have those kind of components and want to go global. I mean, those pieces, and not all the startups have the mindset, Alexander. They talk about it, but they're not all mentally able or willing to make that quantum leap forward.
AI was really a great industry. I mean, AI startups were really successful in fundraising last year. A lot of our AI startups in which we invested raised next rounds, and the industry is booming today. I agree with you, and I understand why you like AI so much.
Yeah, it's keep it simple, stupid, right? If it's booming, you go after. Well, I mean, look at the amount of data on the planet Earth today. There's 49 zettabytes of data on the planet. If you took CDs or DVDs and stacked them one on top of another, it would go 35 times between the Earth and the Moon. And it's grown at 68% per year. So we're in a state of infobesity. Think about it yourself, Alexander, in your own world. You know, every week, how many times does somebody say, Alexander, I sent you a message? And you say, where did you send it? Well, I sent it to your Gmail. And when did you send it? I sent it a week and a half ago. Can you resend it? Because we can't find things. It's crazy. And that amount of information in your own personal cloud, there's about 300,000 items in your own personal cloud. The entire web in 96 was 257,000 websites. Alexander, you have more information in your personal cloud today than the entire web. Look at all the data sources. And that number doubles every year. In 5 years, you'll have 10 million items. How in the world are we going to be able to find things? Look how much time we spend on our phones, right? So average persons now spend anywhere from 3 to 6 hours on a phone every single day. So the phone's now, talk about singularity, it means the phone's like a finger now.
Yeah. And then the world is really changing very fast today. And so it seems to me that our industry, Gary, I mean, venture capital industry is probably the most interesting industry in the world. Would you agree?
I agree. I mean, well, you know, look at, and I got to tell you, going down through, through Startup Network, through the connections, I started going to Africa And so we actually physically went to Nigeria, we're going to Kenya, Zambia, Ghana. I have 5 African companies in our portfolio. We physically went during the pandemic to Africa, to Lagos. And it was fascinating to see how many companies, especially artificial intelligence companies, there are, and especially in fintech. So I didn't realize there's 206 million people in Nigeria. Well, what I did see is that there's a spirit and there's a passion to be successful, a passion for entrepreneurship. And so, with the challenges that humanity has today with population, with global warming, we need to band together and we need to be able to solve these problems. And a lot of it's because of data. We have to analyze the data and make very, very fast decisions, right? One is ourself. We have to look at it, but two is use an unsupervised AI to help us. And it's going to change so quickly. And now with quantum computers coming in, which quantum computer be 100 million times faster than a supercomputer. What that means, Alexander, is what would take 10,000 years on a supercomputer takes 200 seconds on the quantum computer.
It's really unbelievable, Gary, and the world will change much more probably than we see today. And I saw really several startups in this field, and it seems, of course, what I saw was about creating, this quantum computer. And I have a friend who is a scientist in this field, and he said, yes, it's real, but it will take some time. But the opportunities that it will create, this technology will create, are, of course, unbelievable.
Unbelievable. I agree. I just had one of the top quantum physicists from that runs the lab at Harvard. Actually, the lab's named after her. She's like a 30 under 30 genius. And so, Prania, if you're listening, hi. Anyhow, we were talking about those quantum computers are being used today. By the way, for drug discovery during the pandemic, a number of the pharmaceutical companies use quantum computers and AI to be able to model, to be able to create the COVID vaccines, because a normal vaccine takes 12 years from the time they start to develop, and they had to do it very quickly. And I was on the panel. PharmaVision had asked me to be on a panel. Why me, a country boy? I have no idea, but I was listening, and I'm like, the bench scientists were saying it's going to take us 12 years. I said, in 12 years, forget about it. This is going to be over in 4 years, but nothing good's going to happen. And, that's where, look at about for genes and gene splicing, being able to take those nasty genes out to help us live to the 150, which is a new target, to be able to do stem cell research. So what you're doing, Alexander, I got to tell you, I admire you like crazy. You're doing such a good job of bringing people together to be able to give those chance to democratize the opportunity for these startups from anywhere to be able to go anywhere.
Yeah, and I believe, we should, the industry together should democratize the access to the later stage startups for business angels, because now they have opportunities mostly just in early stage deals, and this is very risky. And so, as you know, VCs prefer to start their investments from round A and later, and all the risk they want to give to their business angels. And it seems for me it's not fair.
Well, the one thing, the one thing that I've been able to find, and I started the Skolkovo Startup Academy in Russia, and GVA Launch Gurus. So what I've seen through the accelerators, that there are ways that you can help these companies. And a lot of the problems that they have, especially if they have a great idea, most of it's operational. They don't know how to get they don't know sales, marketing, business development. They don't know how to create the company. They don't know how to file patents, like the keep it simple, stupid stuff. They just don't get it. And the other thing is they don't have the credibility to take the product to market because nobody knows them. Like you were saying, it's about who in the local market knows who they are. Well, my contention is if they have a really good idea and they've got some revenue locally, that you can curate those companies and take them global. So finding those companies, mining those companies is really finding them is really hard, and most people don't want to take the time or effort to do it.
In my opinion, they need to find the professional like you, Gary, and to invest together with you, because you have a lot of a great experience, and you saw a lot of startups, and very often business angels or private investors just don't have this experience. And it seems for me that seed stage, especially pre-seed stage, it's a field for professionals, not for just people who just started to invest 1 year ago. In my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's because if you do that, if you're one of the business angels just coming into an idea, it's like rolling dice. In the situation, I don't like rolling dice. I want to make sure that if we're going to roll it, that there's some stack that there's a higher probability we're going to win. Especially since 9 out of 10 startups fail, right? So now it's you've opened a portal to the world. It's I applaud you with the things that you've done, and I've seen personally by attending most of your events and being a judge. It's just incredible what you've been able to do, because it really has, during these darkest times, Alexander, and I'm not saying this lightly, you've shown light. I talked to the startups, and it gave them hope during the midst of the pandemic, where people were dying around them. You gave them hope. You gave them the opportunity that their company wasn't going to fail, but could have had a chance to succeed, because there's light at the end of the tunnel, and you gave them a pathway to find the light.
But you remember that first online events that we held there was coronavirus battles.
I remember.
Yeah, so we were trying.
I was right in the middle of it. Yes. Yeah. I remember, and it was really important because it gave people to be able to bind together to come after one cause. You could see people, everybody from all over the world trying to defeat something that was going to, if we wouldn't have the vaccine, could have killed a whole lot of people.
Yeah, and so, but it was really, really great experience in 2020. So we don't understand quite well what is going to be in 2021. Yeah, and after that, yeah, but so we have a new world, and we need to adapt.
So are you going to go back to doing the online slash offline events again?
I'm not really sure, because maybe for the finals. Maybe we'll do finals as we've been doing in Silicon Valley. So now we just start to gather together finalists in Silicon Valley. But, it seems to me now that online format is much more useful, because you are just sitting wherever you are, and you can turn on and turn off the screen and the camera. And if you don't like startups, just left the meeting, and you don't usually have such an opportunity when you are on offline event. And so it's easy, it's cheaper, and you can make more events, and it's better for the investors, because on event we usually have today VCs from 10, 20 countries. You never will have it when you do offline events. So
the expense of travel, right? It's a lot of money to travel, and although there is something to be said for being able to shake somebody's hand and go out and have a cup of coffee or a tea with them and chat.
I agree with you, and this is a really different experience. And when you met the person physically, you have usually much better relationships.
Yeah. Well, you either have a much better one or a much worse one. There's nothing in the middle anymore, right? It's surprising. I just met a couple of people that I've only known online. And the one guy that I had met, I thought he was a lot older than he is and a lot taller than he is. And I'm like, I wonder if that's the same person. He looks like this, and he's probably looking at me, and he goes, "He's a lot fatter than I thought." we ended up having fun, but it was the first time I met him, and I've known him online for a year, doing different, you know, hundreds of different things together online, but I'd never met him. It's interesting, and the same with some of the folks from Startup Network and Unicorn Battle. It's like, I want to meet them, like, and I feel like I'm friends with them, but I don't get it like yourself, right? It's like I haven't met you in person, but I feel like I've known you. I've seen you and talked so many times. It's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, when you see the person many times in online, and you create some conversation and jokes, and so, and after some time, yeah, the experience very close. But still, it seems to me the physical experience is, of course, much better. Nevertheless, it's a new world. It's a new world.
It's a new world. I mean, it's gonna, the thing is, it's interesting because if you look at the coronavirus, it's not by far the worst virus we could have had, right? Could have.
Yeah.
There's things out there a whole lot worse, but it's really a wake-up call. It's interesting, Alexander, during this this virus, we couldn't get a roll of toilet paper in the US. Now, how in the world, with one of the most advanced civilizations on the planet Earth, you can't get a roll of toilet paper? And then we had shortages of meat. So you would have to go to the market in the morning at 8 o'clock in the morning to Whole Foods to be able to get some chicken breast. It was crazy. I mean, I took my garage half full of toilet paper and towels. I got so upset that I ran out of it that I started, and my wife says, "Are you insane? What's wrong with you?" I said, I started giving toilet paper out of my friends. Like, here's a roll, maybe. Don't worry about it. And they loved it. You know what I mean? Listen, I got a whole pallet of towels here. Hey, why don't you take a couple towels? Maybe this will help you out.
But probably some startups can find this new behavior in such crises interesting, and make some new startups. And
yeah, exactly. Well, I know one company did. They started to manufacture face masks and sanitizer. They got this folks to manufacture sanitizer, and then they put it in Costco. Right at the time of the pandemic. I mean, my friend invested in them, went through the roof. I'm not sure how it's doing today, but because people, they want to forget about bad. That's the other thing. It seems like it was only last year that we went through this pandemic, but people don't want to talk about it. In Florida, here and now in California over the last 2 weeks, people just, it's like, what pandemic? It's like, it's unbelievable how it's changed in a very short period, because people don't want to think about the bad, only the good.
Yeah, absolutely, Gary. Absolutely.
So what's the future like? What kind of new things are you going to do? I know you're doing investment. I know. What about VC House? Tell us about what VC House is.
Okay, we are creating a closed community of VCs where they can exchange deals. Sometimes you just have a free allocation and you can share it with others in returns if the other guy shared his deals with you. And so there is still no one marketplace as for me where VCs can do this job, and we started to organize this process. So yes, it's our new initiative, and we hope that we will find the right way and the right business model for this marketplace.
That's great. And what about, so you've got the network, you got Startup Network, you got Unicorn Battles. How do they relate to each other?
I just still one company that have several brands. Really, we have several entities as well, because we just launched our new platform, startup.inc. So it's a platform which will allow in accredited investors, today just accredited investors, to invest as less as $1,000 in syndicates in the startups, in which experienced VCs are investing today. So we are looking for the great deals around A, B, C, and just take the allocation, and then to the investors the opportunity to invest small checks. And
I agree.
yeah, I hope it will change a lot in the market as well. And so we have some other ideas like secondary trade, but we still have some regulations issue which we need to solve. So it is in our future plans. And probably another idea is, of course, about virtual meetings in virtual reality, Gary.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope it will be a different experience, not just Zoom, but the experience in real virtual reality. And we already saw several startups in this field, and they started their job and their products, and it works. And companies, business started to use it for some, parties, New Year party, Christmas party.
I've seen those. There's one. I was at. I spoke at Stanford to their GSB folks, post GSB folks, and they had one of those technologies, and I had a chance to participate. This one was incredible because you're right. It allowed you to be able to have a virtual party. You pick up a drink, you walk around. You got to sit in your seat. You could actually see yourself sitting in your seat. It had an avatar of yourself sitting in your seat in an auditorium. It was it did change it. It did change the experience.
And I think, if we have another virus next year, and then another virus, so we'll start to use it because we'll have no choice. We'll be sitting at homes and just travel in virtual reality. Why not?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Well, listen, we're coming up to the top of the hour. I want to say thank you very much for joining today. How do people reach you, Alexander? What's the best way to get a hold of you? If the startups out there, venture capitalists who listen to my show, what's the best way to get a hold of you and how to participate in unicorn battles?
Okay, you can write me to a@startup.network, or just find me on LinkedIn. Or, of course, if you want to talk with me, you can come to unicorn battles. And I'm usually participate in every unicorn battle.
And then just one question. What is a startup? So if a startup comes into the unicorn battle, do they give equity coming in, or how does it work for the startup?
No, it's absolutely free event. Get it?
Okay.
No charge.
The startups out there, listen, this is an incredible opportunity for each and every one of you. I know you're listening to the show. Get up there, get out there. Alexander does a great job, and his entire team. So I want to thank you, Alexander, for joining my show today. I really appreciate it. I want to thank all my listeners. Thank them for being here. It's great to have you. My name's Gary Fowler, and I'm the host of GSD Presents Silicon Valley AI and Tech from Santa Clara, California. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll see you again next Tuesday. Join the show. Have a great rest of the week, and see you later. Thank you.
Bye, Gary. Thank you very much.